And you know what?
Yeah.
I understand that, women want protection. They want security. But when that security has been weaponized against men and to um allow women to break a vow or a covenant for whatever reason at the cost of a man. Think about this. If you get married through the state, you are making a contract. It's a contract.
Hmm.
You and this party are agreeing to these terms, and the court is agreeing to the contract. If I violated my contract with Verizon and canceled my service before my contract is up, I have to pay a penalty because I breached the contract.
Hmm.
Why is it that when in marriage, a woman could breach the contract, but then also get paid? So she could
Yeah.
violate the contract and then also get rewarded by
Yep.
having you pay her rather than her paying you for breaching the contract.
And she usually gets the kids too, if there are any.
Yes. So you know what I did? I drafted a bill for legislation actually addressing all of these issues that men have when it comes to marriage because I want men and women to get married. I want
Hmm.
there to be healthy families. I want there to be good societies and culture. And the way that we talked about this, we said this in the beginning, the family is the microcosm of the culture of a community. If we don't fix the
Everything goes back to the
family,
home.
yeah, if we don't
Hmm.
fix the home, we can never fix the culture. We can never fix society until we fix the home. So I drafted a bill that addressed divorce, making that you have to have a fault divorce. No fault divorce would be looked at as a breach of contract, right? And whoever breaches the contract is going to have to pay the injured party, the non-breaching party, some form of, restitution, right? Um,
Hmm.
Meaning you're going to have a reason for divorce, and also, establishing father's rights from the moment of birth, and also mandatory or mandating paternity to be taken at birth. So we know that the father is the father biologically of said child, you know,
Hmm.
really establishing a lot of things that guys are saying that they're worried about when it comes to marriage. And really, what it does, it would level the playing field. And honestly, it would probably result in less marriages. And that's not necessarily a bad thing.
That's, hey, go for the quality, not the quantity,
Exactly.
right?
I would rather have less marriages, but long, happy, lasting marriages with healthy families than
Hmm.
people able to get married and divorced like they're going through a drive through.
Yeah. Yep.
But we need to actually
That's it.
value marriage like it once was, because the courts shouldn't. You got to think about this. The courts has incentivized women to divorce, right? And the courts need that because it's $1 billion industry. You're getting
Yep.
judges' wages, you're getting legislators, attorneys getting paid. $1 billion industry in divorce. That's divorce alone. That's not including marriage. Not
Hmm.
including the wedding planner, the venue, the seating arrangements, none of all that stuff. We're not even talking about that. Just divorce alone is $1 billion industry.
I'm reminded of a documentary on Netflix. It might still be there, and I'm gonna address some more comments here in a minute. It's called Divorce Corp,
Oh yeah,
CORP, as
that
in
was on
corporation.
Netflix.
Yep, that's exactly where it's from. And dude, I knew it was bad. I knew it was bad. I didn't realize just how bad and how things are positioned in a way to I mean, quite frankly, just to sum it up, in favor of the woman, in favor of the woman by default. Like, I am a firm believer in that. And if you don't believe me, go watch the documentary yourself, and we'll have a debate about it. Whoever you are, person, right? And it's wild, man. It's absolutely wild. I'll start and stop there. Go check it out, Divorce Court. But it sounds like you've seen it as well, Glenn. It's an
Oh yeah.
incredible documentary. It's
You know,
very revealing.
I've been lucky to be able to speak with like James Sexton. You guys have probably seen him on X. He's a really prominent divorce attorney. Um, and I love the way that he talks about marriage and divorce. And as from a divorce attorney, you would think that he would hate marriage, you know, or he would just love
Right.
divorce. But he truly values the essence and the meaning of what marriage is supposed to be. And
Yeah.
he talks about, like, if men and women just would get back to that understanding of it, we wouldn't have
Hmm.
the divorces that we do. But,
Yeah.
you know, um, we are where we are. And I hate to say this, but I do put it on feminism, because feminism is a look at me. What about me? Me,
Hmm.
me, 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 me. I'm not getting this. What about meism? Right? It's a very selfish view. I want to be equal to men. I want to have the same as you. Me, right? Instead of, how am I doing? Am I serving my husband, or am I loving my wife the best of my ability? Instead of focusing on you individually, you should be focusing on your spouse. And
Hmm.
when you're focusing on your spouse, you don't have time to think about me.
Hmm.
It's her job to think about you and worry about if whether or not your needs are being met. It's your job to
Hmm.
think about her and worry about whether her needs are being met.
Yeah.
When you are
See
focused
that
on
that's
that, you can't focus on the individual.
that's the only, like, I'm being facetious as I say this, but that's the only type of competition I think that is healthy between particularly a husband and wife,
Is
or
that
hell,
who's
even a
loving each
girlfriend
other
and
more?
boyfriend. Is essentially, yeah, who can outdo each other as far as taking care of each other. Like, hey, how can I serve him today? Hey, how can I serve her today? Like that is how I think. I mean, it's kind of a cute little competition thing, but that's the point. Instead, it's, oh, my needs aren't being met. Again, I talk about this all the time. The great disease of self is so incredibly powerful, and that all stems from pride.
Yep.
It's the great justifier. It's the great excuser, that again excuses one's actions to do whatever he or she wants to do, whatever they think is right. You know what I'm saying? But let me get back to these comments. And speaking of
Yeah.
feminism, Dana, I don't know if you're still here, dear, by the way. She says, this one's an interesting one. I'm going to actually read this kind of slow. And it's pinned in my Kick chat.
Okay.
Feminism is originated in the 18th and early 19th centuries,
1864.
driven. Yeah, well, she even actually, I think, has an exact year here soon. Um, Driven by the exclusion of women from the French Revolution and the growing awareness of their social inferiority. Figures such as Mary Wollstonecraft and Olympe de Gorgas advocated for equal rights and education,
Reform.
laying the foundation for the first wave of feminism, which focused on the fight for women's suffrage and civil rights, culminating in the Seneca Falls
Seneca
Convention in
Falls Convention.
1848.
Yep. At a as a Wesleyan church, which was a Methodist church.
Interesting. She says, sorry, the history teacher comes out. No, and I told her don't ever apologize for that stuff. And that goes for anybody. I don't think anybody needs to apologize for speaking their mind, unless, of course, they're just being a
But
complete
here's the
D-bag.
thing: did you know the suffragette were known as terrorists?
No,
Oh
no.
yeah. Oh yeah. They carried clubs in their dresses. When police would come and arrest them, they would bludgeon them. They would take the little pins out and stab dudes with it. They bombed
Yeesh.
churches. They bombed facilities. Oh yeah, no, the suffragettes were terrorists. The first wave feminists were pretty pretty bad.
That's, man, I'm glad we're at least kind of out of that. But I guess it's arguably worse in a way now than it was then. But I don't know. That's debatable.
All
Anyway,
we've done
let me
is
read some
we've
more comments.
exchanged problems for problems.
Yeah, it's just a different way of doing the same freaking crap, really.
I mean, think about it. You could do more if I don't have to blow up a building, or if I don't have to cause physical harm to somebody, but I could appeal to them to make them believe something that's not true, or to alter, give them a different worldview, and they adopt that. I have done more damage without even having to do any physical damage.